welcome back to the Losing It podcast, where the sun seems to have come back after a bit of rain. How are you now?
I'm all right. I'm weather update. I'm back in my summer clothes, having decided that it was winter and almost packing
No.
everything away again and throwing a massive tantrum about it over the bank holiday weekend and the very, very rainy week that we spent in Devon. But no, the sun is out. The arms are out.
Which is good because aren't you painting your lovely one-to-one diet cabin as well?
I am, and I even took a photograph of it because I was going to do a little tap to tidy, a changey color reel on Instagrams, because that's the important thing. But
Yeah.
yes, it's going a lovely forget me not blue, and I'm doing the inside as well, and just doing the big spring clean because I do a deep clean of the cabin, and but I'm in there all the time seeing my face-to-face clients, so I need a bit of novelty. I need to sort of take everything out, move some things around for no particular practical reason other than it keeps me entertained. And then I can go back to spending my lovely spring and summer out there because it is busy. Lots of people, the sun comes out, we want to get our arms out, and people are thinking, that one-to-one, it doesn't half work. I'll go back and I'll go back and do that again because even just people still behave nowadays like it's shocking to put on a stone. And I think this is another taboo we really need to get over. The shame that we unpack a lot about, dispelling all of that nonsense. The shame about I've put on a stone, therefore I've blown it, instead of, just being more open about how the difficulties and challenges of long-term maintenance. Losing the weight off, getting the weight off is much easier than keeping it off. And that's another one that we need to be a little bit more honest about. But you know what? People tell themselves it's shocking to put on a stone or two over winter. Can I just say, being a weight loss consultant, expert in this field for over 10 years now, it's not. It's really easy. It's really easy, and loads of people do it. A stone or two, it's a big amount to lose, but it's shocking how quickly and easily it can go back on. So please, 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 please come back in summer. Come back before it gets any later in the year and you're having to wear a cardigan to sports day. Don't do it to yourself because you convince yourself that it's a shocking amount of weight to put on, and Heidi and I will be appalled by it. It's so common and it's so easily fixed. And if we need to
Yeah.
do that every spring, then that's what we'll do because that's support and that's long-term weight maintenance. We've got to get over ourselves. I lost all of this weight once and I've been perfect since.
Well, yes, because there is that long-term study, isn't there? It's the Copenhagen study. It was done over 2 years, I want to say. And it was people that lost weight with the meal replacement diet. And then what they had them do was 3 times a year, they would just do a little mini reset for sort of 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And what it enabled them to do was what they would naturally see is as we go through the year, we tend to have events like Christmas, holidays, Easter, where the weight just creeps up a little bit,
Yeah.
do a little reset. And then actually what that enabled them to do was over those 2 years, maintain their weight loss. And
What
I
you
think,
saw was that the weight loss was, yet they tracked, and that
yes,
you saw the lines do that because the people that overall over the longer time period, the people that did the rescue packages, their line slowed and and
and
stabilized.
averaged itself out over the
Right.
time.
Rather than,
Yeah.
and you could literally, when you see the graph, you can literally hear the narrative in people's heads because we've all experienced it ourselves. Oh shit, oh no, this is starting to go wrong, this is it, I'm done for, I'm supposed to be a big girl, this is just how it's going to be. And you can hear it happen as the graph plots its way up, instead of what I'm trying to do, which is break through that taboo and that isolationism that happens so much with weight, which is everybody else is doing brilliantly except me. If they've all got it figured out, I didn't go up through the steps properly. It's something it's life. Don't overanalyze, and also don't judge. Don't judge it with we can draw a line under it. We can honor what happened, like the death of my mum, which caused weight gain last year. You see, when somebody else says it about themselves, I'm sure that most of our audience, I would hope that all of our audience is going, yeah, well, that tracks. That totally makes sense. She should be nice
Should
to
be
herself
kinder
about
to
that. That's a
yourself.
really.
These things happen. All the things that we would say to a friend, to somebody
And
else.
is she doing well at pulling her socks up and getting the weight back off now and drinking her water and trying to sort it? It's not that thing of, oh, well, she fluffed it, so therefore she just needs to dig down on that and stay there. And that's all we're saying to you is that, don't isolate yourself and don't hothouse yourself. There's nothing wrong with coming back in spring and just saying, I did it before. And the great thing about that is I did it before, I know how to do it, and I know it works. I
Yes,
know
it
it
gives you
works.
that confidence of you've done this before, so you know you can do it, you know it's going to work, and give it a few
Yeah,
weeks. You'll be
coming
feeling
back,
much
coming back at
better.
it with a little bit of wisdom. It's a much easier process because we don't have all of that intensive, learning how to do plan. The learning curve is really much more shallow. You can kind of slip back into plan and reassure yourself within the first week that you're nowhere near as far away from getting this back under control as you were convincing yourself. And the reset is nowhere near as shocking. You manage your expectations much better when you do plan. We all sort of think the first time is some kind of golden, precious golden egg, but it's not. It's just ignorance is bliss. You
Yes.
don't really know what you don't know, so you just do what the lady tells you to do. Actually, when you come back, you do have a lot more nous, and you do understand your own triggers and your own pitfalls, and you can have a much better experience. So I would always say go back to what you know works well. And we are quick. Give us
Yes,
that,
I mean that is the good thing. Me and you hear it all the time. That first week, they've got that first week out of the way. They come back, have their little weigh, talk to us, and they're like, "Oh my God, I feel so much better. Suddenly, my clothes are a bit
That's
looser.
what I
The
mean.
bloating's gone."
And to be fair, we are quick. We've got
We
all those
are.
graphs and all those
I
studies and all
mean,
those
on average, on
spreadsheets
those
as well.
socials, they're
We are.
actually looking at a stone a month on average. And we see it
And
all the
everybody's
time.
different and everybody loses at an individual rate, and some are ketogenic and some aren't, and some, all of, and everybody's on, different individuals. That's why we like the one-to-one. You don't compare yourself to her. Are you taking the same medications as her? Are you also perimenopausal? There's all sorts of variables. Are you also a 6'5" man? Like there's all sorts of reasons why you cannot make predictions about weight loss, but you can also make a lot of predictions about weight loss when you minimize the variables on our plan, because there's only so much to look at. We don't have all that fluffy gray area, kind of, over complicating things where people then end up on the scales like you and I used to, Heidi, going, I think I've been good. I think
Yeah, then
it's
it
been a good
becomes
week.
much more, you're almost judging yourself rather than having faith in the plan that actually the result is going to work out on that scale, because you know this works, you know it's quick, you haven't got to worry all about all of that, and you don't take it quite so personally.
I
And also,
definitely.
the plan does what a lot of other things don't do out there, which is give you the nutrition that you need in a caloric deficit with the amount of protein you need to keep that lean body mass, so that we
So
are
you feel
losing fat
better.
over other muscle and
Oh,
other things that we really need to keep.
hands down. There's always going to be a small collateral damage of muscle, but compared to other diet methods, we are protein heavy and we are muscle. We are what am I trying to say? What's the word? We're concentrating on preserving the lean muscle as much as possible. But that is why you feel so much better within a week,
Yes.
because before you've even lost a huge amount of body fat. I'm not going to feel better until I've lost 2 stone. I'm not going to feel better until there. Actually, the moment you start getting the nutrition, all those little, RDAs, all those little boxes, all those trace selenium, all of the, I don't even know how many sunflower seeds you need to eat to get the selenium that you're supposed to be having. But, I can get it in a fruit and nut bar with a meal replacement that I know, like you say, is doing a lot of the work for me.
Yes.
And it does relieve all of the thinking and the counting. So when you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and you just want to get there, we all want to just get there last week. We all
Yeah.
want to lose the weight right now. And I think particularly at this time of year when the sun does suddenly come out for real. And we're like, can I do that by next week? Can I do that? And it's like, we're quick. But I tell you what, even if you can't hit your number goal by then, what you can is feel a heck of a lot better.
Yes,
Heck of a lot better.
100%.
And also instantly, the moment you've got good nutrition and we really prioritize the hydration, it comes off right around the middle.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
That's where
That first
and
week,
it's the bit
everyone's
that
like, "Oh,
makes
I
you
feel less
feel.
bloated. I can see it in my face. I can see it in my tummy area." It's the places where it's just your body's carrying all that extra water, a little bit of inflammation from the high carbs and the amount of, glycerin and everything else that your body's trying to do, and all of those things that happen scientifically. But that kind of goes. We're nice and
Definitely.
hydrated, and the
What is it? You
nutrition
feel it,
is
you feel
keeping
it, and
you
you
feeling
you
good.
feel it and you see it, and then the numbers are just sort of, but the numbers that's why it's so easy to put on a stone. It's so easy. And if you have dieted a lot, and if you've even dieted a lot, but through pregnancy, if your weight for whatever reason in your adult life has gone up and come down and gone up again and come down, you will find that, it is really, it's easy to put weight on, and it can happen quite quickly. We're surprisingly good at it with not a huge amount of effort is the other thing that's important. So it's not like, it's not like you're going to come back to us and we're going to go, oh, they really blew it, didn't they? They really had to put some effort in to put that weight on. No. In fact, we're not thinking any of those things. And the reason that we're not is because we know you're worried that we are. It's
Yes.
almost like I don't want you to have to come in and spend the first 10 minutes of your returner appointment saying, well, it was because of this and it was because of that and it's because I did this. But talk to me, of course. Like, put a bit of context, like I want to know what you've been up to and it's lovely to hear from you, but you don't have to explain yourself in terms of weight gain. We can be very practical and pragmatic about offering you a solution that will have you, like Heidi said, feeling much better very quickly, and will put you on the right track to where you want to be to get this sorted. That's it.
Yeah, the conversation is much more. So what's happening? Like, what does your life look like now?
Yeah,
what are you
you
up to? Where are the challenges? How busy are you? Are you back at work? Are you still like looking after the kids? Are you still
exactly?
caring for your
Lot of
mum?
what
Whatever it might
will be lifestyle dependent, because
Yeah.
what we're really asking there, apart from we're nosy so-and-sos and we love catching up with you, is what we're really asking there is we're listening out for all of those things that will affect plan. So, yes, I recently took up, marathon running. That might get me and Heidi thinking a little bit about what might be appropriate for you now. But like Heidi just pointed out, I'm not breastfeeding. I'm this far past postpartum. They've gone to school, so my life has changed. My day-to-day life has changed a lot, or I've gone back to work, more hours. Lots of things affect your ability to do plan, and it might not be step 1A like it was when in my 20s.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean you're going to
a lot of
wait
people,
any slower.
work shift works. It's all sorts of things,
Yes.
and we want to know that so that we can advise you the right plan for you, and make this as easy as it possibly can, and give you good advice about the practicalities of it behind the scenes.
And that's
Where are you going to put your meals and all of those things?
And it's about working hand in hand with what's actually happening in your life now. So, I have people who have been going to slimming groups for ages and they love their slimming groups. They don't want to stop going to their slimming groups, but they're going for the crack. They're going because it's a lovely group on a Saturday morning, and they get they particularly, some people find peer-to-peer support really valuable, even if it doesn't really pertain to weight loss all of the time. I'm not going to tell you that you're so contraindicated that I can't supply you with one-to-one products and support and advice. Why would I do that? Why would I first cut my nose off to spite my face? And why would I not support what is actually working for the individual who is standing in front of me? That is the one-to-one. So it's not the computer says no, and that we know that there are GLP1s out there in the world.
Yes.
We'd be mad to be like, well, firstly, like whatever, people are going on doing the jab, and firstly, that would be bonkers of us, but also it would be unwise of us to demonize that because we perceive that as some kind of competition. No, we want people to win. We want everybody to win by losing weight. That is our goal. What we do need to do, though, is take our time, understand what this is. Basically, we take it on ourselves as professional weight loss experts to know more about this than you do. We're not medics. We're not claiming to be, but we do feel like we need to slow down and understand, what are they all? What are the different names? What are the different doses? What does titration mean? Who is eligible to do them? How long does it take? What kind of weight loss is it? What kind of protein levels? We would interrogate all of those things in the same way as we would our own weight loss offering. So, I know that there are people who are using the jab, for want of that is what people call it, isn't it? Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, all of these things, semaglutide, and not telling me.
Yes.
I know that. I know, because did I mention how nosy I am?
I know. And the good thing is that we can still support you.
Exactly.
If you were taking those medications.
Back into that over internalizing of shame. Yes. Why have you not told me? Like, I've got a couple of clients who I know are using it and have told me. And that's really distilled, that thing of, be honest, be practical, one-to-one. We're here to support. Just like if you were, had suddenly taken up marathon running, well, that's going to mess with your with your weight loss, and it's definitely something that we need to know about. Like if you're also using the jab, we also need to know that. But are we going to cut our own noses off to spite our face and say, well, it's a me or them? No, there's no ultimatum. Come and we will take the very best of everything that is on offer, and we will work with you. That's what we want. And ultimately, if it helps you to stick to plan and ensure, just like Heidi said, that you are getting your protein needs met, that you're not wasting away, strong, not skinny, then that's kind of perfect, isn't it?
Yes, because whatever plan you do, when we are in a caloric deficit, we have less food to get that nutrition from. And protein is always something that we need to be prioritizing to keep that lean body mass, to make sure that we're nice and safe on plan,
Absolutely.
to get everything out of it.
If it is suppressing, it works on hormones. So if it's suppressing your appetite to the extent that you cannot, really can't face food, then actually, what's easier than our new ready-made shake? Peach and
Yeah,
passion fruit,
exactly.
freezing cold, straight from the back of the fridge. That slips down. You can always talk somebody into that, even if they can't face, conventional food. Equally, the jab doesn't take away the thinking and the counting. The idea of the jab is that it's a diabetic drug, that one of the side effects was effective weight loss. That's how this evolved. But all the thinking and the counting and the taking the responsibility is still there from day dot.
Yes.
Now that's different with us, because what we can offer is we can take it all away, and then we can reintegrate that in amounts that you can cope with at the time, and take that process slowly whilst advising, guiding and hand holding. That's the point. So it may be that people want to do one and then use our plans for the later stages, for the figuring out. There's many different ways. You can probably tell I'm really excited about it. Now that we're allowed to talk about how we can do it and encourage people, I want to say, let's pick the little, let's take the best of everything.
Yeah.
And work out what's going to work for you. But what I would say is, and sound like your mother, get it from a proper prescriber. It's the same as one-to-one products. Don't buy them off eBay. You don't know where they've been. It's about being responsible. We have our medical guidelines and our, what will be suitable and things. So it's going to be a really interesting process. Like I say, I have been working with 2 clients that are already using it. The flip side of that is I've also had a lot of people who have left, tried it, and a lot of people who've come back. So that might be a different conversation, but for various reasons, they have been coming back because it doesn't work for everybody. And like all weight loss solutions, it's not a miracle cure.
No,
So
and
it all needs
alongside
proper consideration. And if we can help you to sound that out and be your best friend in that process of figuring it out, then give us the opportunity to do that. You're not doing anything wrong. There is no guilt when it comes to weight loss.
100% not. And alongside, ensuring that you're getting the nutrition that you really need when your appetite is being suppressed because you're on lower calories and most likely in ketosis initially, and it does have that appetite suppressant about it. And, some of those drugs, they slow how hungry you feel because they slow digestion, all of those
That's
things.
right. They kind of loosen everything here. So everything goes down. Yeah.
And everything kind of changes a little bit. The products are there, high protein, nutritionally complete, easy to get down you if you are having a few of those side effects from some of those things, and finding it difficult to eat a huge meal. But also what you are getting with the one-to-one diet is our expert support and guidance. You're not doing it alone. You're not trying to figure this out by yourself in this whole new world where you've never done that before and you're not quite sure.
And that's why I think a lot of people are tripping up, is that it's being advertised as a miracle cure that takes it all away. There's a lot of food noise. It's a term that's come into our vernacular quite recently, but quite overwhelmingly, because people have really cottoned onto that. They've grasped onto that. It's also a lot of what ketosis does. It's what a lot of our lower steps do. A lot of consultants have been and remember, consultants are successful. We've lost weight, and so we're just people who are a bit further down this road. A lot of us are like, but isn't that what our plans do? But because we haven't been shouting about it in quite the same way, it also takes away a lot of the thinking and the counting and the overwhelm, and allows that clear, it kind of clears the path. Whereas my understanding is with the jab, you do need to be looking at your macros and measuring and balancing and counting and calorie count. A lot of that is what we just want a break from. Because again, it's not because you're daft, it's not because you don't understand these things. So I sort of think, well, maybe the jab exists in coalition with us. And I'm sure it exists in isolation for lots of people, and that's absolutely fine. In the same way as we exist in, we're not going anywhere. We exist very
successfully do the plan and...
in isolation from the jab. But what we're sort of trying to examine today is that marriage of them and how that can be successful. And I do wonder whether it's a bit like sports mode. It's a bit like the turbocharge, you knock it into and you get that fuel injection. I wonder if it's that you are fundamentally, you are doing the plan, you're committed to the plan and the process and the support and all the things that you were just saying, but you've just got that little bit of extra lean.
Yeah, like the little turbocharge. If you're someone that's suitable potentially for that medication, you might find that coupled with our support, our high protein products, the way our plan is structured that we know works really well, that actually together it kind of magically gives you that little bit of extra that gets you over the finish line, that gets you going
and
with this.
Clearly stops the narrative in your head, which is, I just need to want this more. I just need more willpower. No, actually, maybe your hormones need a tweak. Maybe you need to give yourself a break. And, if that's what it does, then it's a perfectly legitimate, addition to plan. It's to support plan. Ultimately, plan is the thing that is going to work, though. Plan is going to be the thing that works because, as it says on the tin, there's a plan. There is a plan and there is an exit strategy. There is a management strategy. There is contingency in that. And it depends on you as an individual. So wherever we look for the miracle cure in getting the weight off, do remember that we are still in for that long-term maintenance figuring out stage. And of course, it's the bit we're all going to try and avoid. It's the sticky bit. Is the bit that we're best at. It really is, hands down. We can get the weight off, but we can keep it off too.
Yes, exactly. And that is the thing, regardless of what else you might be doing outside of the plan. The plan is here and it works. We've been around for 40 years and we know how to do this. Me and Nelle have been consultants for a long time, and we have seen so many different types
the rescue packages that Heidi was explaining earlier. With the graph. There's a point which I wish we had a little slideshow. The graph, she says.
The thing is, me and Nelle get very nerdy. We like to look at all the different studies. There are so many, and we have a fabulous nutritionist on staff that likes to give us lovely medical presentations about all the different facts and figures.
Yeah, we recently had some training on GLP1s, didn't we? So all of them, and I was listening to the training, but I couldn't see the slides. And she knows me so well, nerdy Nelly, and nerdy Heidi was like, "Don't worry, I'm on it. I've got them all.
Don't worry, I'm taking pictures of every single slide in every single study."
My phone just started going, ba-ding. It was like, Heidi has sent you 37 images, and I'm
like, it's this study and it's that study, and this is what happens, and this is the highlight of this study, and this is how this affects. And I love that stuff because when you understand the impact of these things, you're giving yourself tools. You look at it more objectively. You suddenly aren't punishing yourself thinking you've done something wrong. It's science, and it's work a certain way.
It is not helpful to any of us to demonize any weight loss option, but it's really not helpful to point the finger at the jab like, it's the Wild West, it's totally unregulated, it's this, it's that, it's people did that to us for years. Fad diet, meal replacements are now, you can pick them up and you can pick up, I'm not going to say any other brand names, but you can pick up high protein meal replacements that are not nutritionally
all sorts of places
when you go and get petrol. Like that things we can, we don't cope. Human beings do not cope with change well, and we don't cope with it quickly. But once it's assimilated, it becomes much more normal, much more accessible, much better understood. It's not helpful to point the finger at the jab like it's, like somebody's doing anything wrong. But also, it's not fair to tell people that the jab will solve all of their, no one thing. Let's work in collaboration so that everybody gets what they need. Don't do it if you don't understand it. That's what I would say, because no one thing, nobody making claims, just like we said at the beginning of the video, nobody making bold claims about what you're going to lose without knowing who you are, where you're at in your life, whether you are doing bank shifts, whether you are taking medication, whether you do have to, you need to work with somebody that just, has the time, takes the time to understand where you're at in life, and what is going to be the right way forward for you. It's the
Yes.
plan. It's the planning bit.
Yeah. And we are here to tailor it to you with a one-to-one diet. That's where that bit comes in, and we are very nerdy, and that's kind of so you don't have to be a little bit, so that we can give you the very best advice in a way
that is so true. So many of my
Yes.
slimmers are a bit like, I'm glad I don't need to understand it because Nell does.
Yes.
I think that's the trust. And that's where I would say, get a prescriber, do it, don't. And the only reason that the kind of, I wouldn't say it was a black market. I don't know enough about it, but the way that we've all been introduced to the jab is like it's almost some kind of, a bit cloak and dagger, a bit sort of, and it's like, no, go to a proper prescriber who's going to keep an eye on it, and hopefully ask some of the same questions that we will. But I also think that it's just sensible to use some kind of health coaching and some kind of food coaching along with that.
Yes, exactly.
And that's lovely that we can come along today and have been given proper green light from one-to-one to be able to say, that's us, by the way, that's us, pick us.
We'd love to have you. Yes, because we are, if one thing, the reason that me and Nell are one-to-one diet consultants, the reason we do this is because we want everyone to have success, to feel good. Everyone deserves to feel good in their body, get their confidence back, wear the clothes that make them feel amazing, and get the results that they really want. And that's what we're here to support you with, and to tailor it to suit you. So
just for a little testimonial that came in yesterday out of the mouth of my slimmer, who's gone to France for a month, and was quite nervous about going to France for a month because that, she's self-catering, but still there's going to be a lot of, hot temptations and new food and all the rest of it. Anyway, hi Nell, hope you're okay. So old lady glasses on. So food-wise, everything food-wise seems to be going okay. Those injections do work, as a lot of the time I don't fancy anything to eat, and with the help of the products, it's going well. There you are. Straight. I mean, there it is. Basically, just having one good meal a day and a product and 2 products and water, of course, having a wonderful time. Had my second French lesson today. I mean, brilliant, 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 brilliant. I want everybody to win. She can be in France. She can have a lovely time. She took all of her products with her. And instead of feeling like it was willpower alone and that she was falling short of some, self-imposed expectation where she had to be perfect on that holiday, it's now become, it's the pressure. That's the thing. It sounds like the pressure has eased and she can be around the food without feeling so overwhelmed by it all.
And you're not choosing one or the other. If you have loved plan, enjoyed plan in the past, and you are thinking,
oh yeah, I know for a fact she's out there with her mixed berry ready-mades, not being bothered about all the rest of the food that's around her, feeling so much better about it. And that's the kind of marriage that we're looking for. We're not saying you have to do it. Like I said earlier, like
the plan works.
Yeah, I don't feel I need that. I think this is for the people that are either they're already doing it and they feel like they can't then approach us. They feel like they've gone off and done it and now they can't come back. I think that's a concern, isn't it? And if this is just, our door is always open, and now we can say it more officially, because I respect the fact that the one-to-one has a commercial nutritionist who we've all taken the time to make sure that we understand what we're offering and how this fits in to what we're offering. And I love this company, and I think they're very responsible, and we are very responsible.
If we take it very seriously.
Yeah, well, if we'd just gone hell for leather with that because it was more of a business concern, slam the competitor. No, we're better than that. And ultimately,
we've always been focused on you as a slimmer, keeping you safe, making it work for you, making sure you get out of this what you need to be, and you feel good all the way around. I think
there is people who would worry about doing our plan because they would worry they couldn't stick to it.
Yes.
For whatever kind of previous negative experiences that they may have had with dieting, or they're not willing to try a higher step because they don't want to have to deal with food. See, that's where the jab suddenly becomes more of a help than anything. So I think there's that is basically what our job is, isn't it? More than what there's 101 ways.
Yeah, there's horses for courses, as they say, and it is finding the right way that's going to work for you. So you know, never worry about approaching us should you be looking at other weight loss solutions out there. And we will always give you our very best advice about
Of course
how
you
we
are. We
can
would be
support you.
expecting you to. We would be
Yes.
expecting you to approach the nerdy consultants, having done your research. You know, like, you know, you've tried everything, right? At this point. That's why we're here. That's why you're watching this video, because we feel like you're already here doing your research. I like you, by the way, for that
Yes.
reason alone.
I mean, that's exactly how I found the 120. I was like, tippy tappy on the googly, tell me the things. And I ended up finding it here. And, you know, that is partly what keeps me now going is we are, you know, looking at all those scientific reasons about why it works, how it works for us, and the amazing results that it can give us in the longer term, and all of the benefits that come with a plan like ours. But
Exactly. Yeah.
we
I
hope
mean,
that's been helpful.
it wasn't that I didn't think that we had a lot to say on this subject, but good job if anyone stuck with us for that long.
Yes, we thought, oh, just film a quick one. We say that every week. Hopefully that's been very helpful. If you have any questions, do get in touch with us. Our contact details are always in the description box. If you're thinking about starting plan and you have some questions around that, or you'd like more information, do contact either Nelle or happy to answer all of your questions and be completely transparent about how all of this works and how we can support you to lose the weight and keep it off for the longer term. Please subscribe, like, do all the things. We are here every Monday. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.